Hey guys, welcome back to Real Life Music. Let's talk with who do we have tonight?
We got Neely.
I'm Miles.
Daredevil.
Neely, Miles, and Daredevil. You guys doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing good.
How you
Doing fine. How about you?
Awesome sauce. I'm doing pretty good.
Excited to be
right.
here.
Yeah,
Yay!
appreciate you having us.
Thank you for being on here. All right. Are there any new projects that you guys are working on together or separate? What's happening?
So I know I have been trying to get together this mixtape with Daredevil just because I've had just enough life experience at this point where I felt like I could put him into a project finally, and I'm trying to get that together for sure. I know you said you had some stuff too.
Yeah, I've got a couple songs that I've been working with, a bunch of old songs that I just wasn't comfortable with putting out. But hearing what's going on in this music is inspired me to finally just say I need to go ahead and get my voice heard. I have a lot of messages due to different instances in my life that are real serious, but I put a different spin on it. So, and I met up with him, and he had a similar outlook on things, and his rap style was very similar to mine. Then I heard Darab's work and how he could contrast our rap styles together and make our own sound. Along with it, kind of reminded me of like NERD. So I was just like, I'm gonna jump off the end with this and just collab with these guys because it's better to know your group than to like try to find a group and fit in. Like I like these guys. So,
Yeah, we team building.
Definitely.
Yeah. So we have a few projects like collaborations that we're working on, but I also have a lot of solo projects because so I am not really like too I guess familiar with like the rap and hip hop. Like I mostly just like write those beats for them or for people who would like want to like who approach me. But I work on electronic music like EDM. So that's what I do like as solos, and I have a lot of those set up. A couple coming out hopefully soon, depending on when the labels that they're sent to decide to release them. But those will be expected hopefully sometime this summer.
Oh, so Daredevil, you're a producer. Okay.
That's
All
right.
For Neely, how did you know that rap was going to be your outlet for music?
So rap was it actually wasn't my first like outlet that I found. For me, it was basketball was actually my first thing. I thought I was going to go to the NBA, like that was like I was going to be Kobe. And like just going through life, I ended up going to college, and obviously I wasn't playing for like the D1 school, and like I was playing club basketball. So like in the back of my mind, just the type of person I am, I was like, all right, I can play club, and then I'll walk on to the Division 1 team and I'll make it. But just as I like went through those experiences, I kind of just wanted to find something else to pour myself into, because I just saw realistically basketball was kind of coming to an end, and I had taken all that I could from it. And rap had always been something I was interested in, and I would write rhymes in school, but like I never had like the capacity to like record, or like had friends that were really interested in it. So it was kind of just something I did, and like I just like revisited that to like just kind of explore just like venting and just writing, just down your thoughts and like in a way that you would. And like once I started doing that, and I put it to like a beat for the first time, it was so cathartic and so like just like amazing for me as like a person, like I like just to grow from like just kind of realizing my truth in words like down on paper. And I was like, from there on, I was like, okay, I'm gonna see where this leads.
All right, I feel that. All right, so I noticed that you are a fast rapper. You fit a whole lot of words in one line. Yes, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, honestly, if I'm like being real, where it came from is my introduction into hip hop was like purely Eminem. I only listened to Eminem. I mean, like I didn't like any other rapper like other than Eminem for a while. Then I got into EDM music, and then I revisited hip hop, and I was like, yo, I was tripping. What the fuck? Like there's so many good like rappers out there. And I started getting into all the other people, and that really started helping me grow my style and like evolve it a little bit and like learn how to rap more than just going fast. But just listening to Eminem, I think, on repeat for a while, I just kind of like, that was like, I also just, even now when I'm not listening to Eminem, obviously, I still like just people who put words together in a very interesting way and just like find like different ways to not only just make interesting rhymes, but have it like reflect truth within themselves or like express an opinion. Like J. Cole and Kendrick do that like on an insane level. So it's like, just that's always been like a huge passion of mine. So I just wanted to try and do it. So just practicing and trying to like copy basically my idols kind of led me there.
Oh, Brett, cool beans. Okay, so since we're having hip hop and EDM kind of fused together, what Like, how does that work out? Because that's, again, two totally different sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can speak to this a little bit after me, David. But I know from like my end, whenever me and David started working, I just kind of like I was recording over beats I find on YouTube or something. And I know whenever I met up with Miles, I just had him come over. I was just working on it was just I find producers on YouTube I mess with, and I'll like write to them. So I had a verse, and me and him were like just getting to know each other. And I told him to come over, and I was like, yo, I need like a verse on this song. And he had a verse, and so me and him kind of recorded just over a YouTube beat. And then how me and David make music is I send him just like the raw vocals, and then this man just takes like the raw recording and does everything else pretty much. So if you want to, you can speak on that a little bit more. It's a blanket statement.
That's pretty good. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, like I said, like I produce the electronic music, and I've been doing that for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years by now. And, most of that is just creating the sounds and creating like the beat itself and the style. And there's not really generally like accompanying vocals or any like lyrics to them. So I've kind of built myself into this like genre and into like being able to create songs like this. And I wanted to like explore past that and like, have like singers or like rapper, it was always been something that like I wanted to do, but I never really had anybody that I knew or sometimes I'd like remix a song, that would have like vocals, and then I would put the vocals on top, of course. But it's definitely just the fusion of the styles is really interesting to me, because it's like what I'm working on now is like kind of being pushed, like not really pushed, but like being put into the background. And now there's like something else that has to shine on top of that. And that's like, James or Miles, their like lyrics and their recording, and being able to like play around with those two different elements and kind of make them complement each other. It's definitely an interesting process, but yeah, that's basically how it goes.
I really like how my favorite part about the combination too is just like I really feel like I can hear Daravith almost like singing in the background with his music. Like he gets to have his own like it's like his lyrics in a way too. So it's like we're all kind of writing this song like in a sense, obviously in ways, but it's cool. It's cool how it comes together.
I've always wanted to mess with EDM just because the volume of how much that music travels. It's a worldly sound. Hip hop's a worldly sound as well. So there's no point in having the kings of music not merge.
Yeah.
Because that market is ridiculous. And if you can get your vocals, and it doesn't even take that many vocals, because most of the time to listen to the beat, you say enough words that people will nod their head to, and you got the DJ or producer making everything else. You got a hit, and that's really like light work. It's just up to you creating something good.
Yeah.
And to tap into that market, man, it's crazy. And there's a change in music coming really soon. And it might have to involve hip hop, EDM, or even other genres. But I want to be ahead of that curve, so that we could be either those top creators or, a good lane for other creators to follow.
Yeah, like Miles was saying, it is definitely fun to kind of like implement our own distinct styles and our own distinct tones, and then mesh them together and create something that is distinct in itself, and have all of our own like different influences and different like backgrounds come into play in one piece, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, man, throwing all those different sounds into a blender's got to sound really cool. Like I'm looking forward to the future NERD. Woo, guys!
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We look at those.
All right, so okay, so who are people that inspire all three of you? Give me your top two going around the horn.
Ooh.
I can go first. Top two, I'd probably say obviously Eminem in music, but then Kobe Bryant and like everything else, like just life and how you should just approach just things that you encounter in life, Oh
shit. Well, I'm gonna have to say J. Cole, just because I'm a storyteller. I like to reach a little bit with mine just to see how many people actually can relate. There's so many things that people are scared to talk about or are ashamed of their feelings and emotions, especially as men, scared to talk about being hurt by a girl because that's lame. Like, no, it's okay. Like, all you do is go through it. But also Mac Miller, due to his unorthodox way of rap, like he never really had too many songs that had like subject matter, but what he was talking about, it was all over the place, but it meant something. Wherever place it was, you could kind of feel his pain or feel that joy that he was having. And it was just a smooth sound. Like you couldn't not like the artist. So, I mean, those are probably my top two artists.
Yeah, he was a straight behind.
Yeah, my answer is gonna be a lot more different. But so there's this one, not really underground, but particularly underground, like electronic artist named Usa. And Usa is definitely a big inspiration to the music that I make, like outside of the hip hop and rap beats, because he has a very distinct sound. He definitely pushes the boundaries of like dubstep and whatever genre he kind of approaches, and there's always like something maybe that you wouldn't find comfortable or that maybe you wouldn't like be familiar with, but you listen to it over and over, you listen to it again, and it's definitely something that like sticks with you. Um, I guess my other inspiration would be our friend Andrew. He goes by Graham, actually. Like he's also a producer. And after we met, that was definitely when we both started taking music more seriously, because he was the first person I met who like had the very distinct and very specific like taste in music that I had. So like we talked about it all the time. We were sharing music with each other all the time. And then I also realized that he produced in the past, but like very like casually. And at this point, I wasn't really too serious about it either. And then, after we both met, we both started becoming more serious. We had collabs together, and then we started like influencing each other's style and like kind of integrating what we learned from each other with our own music. So he's definitely an inspiration to me. And, Miles, I don't know. Actually, yeah, I think you met Andrew, but he's a friend of ours. And he's a, just want to shout him out, I guess. But
yeah, shout out Andrew.
He is an inspiration.
We see you guys.
Yeah. But there's truth to it. There's a lot of truth to all that. So.
All right, since you guys are a mix of cultures with everything that's going on, with all of our protests that we've got happening, and South Carolina, we just had our primaries and changing all the political stuff. All right, so how would you guys define other cultures' allyship? I know, since Neely, you are white. How do you define white allyship?
Wait, can you repeat that last part? It was the word allyship?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure I heard the word right. As far as other groups or as far as music, protests?
Most definitely other groups. How do you guys define your allyship?
I think we all just bounce off of each other because we don't know everybody's struggles. We don't know their triumphs all together. Like we've seen each other go through good. We've seen each other go through a little bit of bad, not all of it, because we don't share every bit of information that we know about each other. But the fact that we can come to a common ground and actually speak on tough subjects or even agree and maybe not agree. But most of the time, I feel like all of us agree. We've never really gotten to any arguments, but everything has been very cordial. I think it's just very transparent how we talk to each other and feel. It's never been rushed. If a conversation comes up and it's very in depth, it's a good feeling to know that I can have this rebuttal with him and he'd be like, oh shit, I didn't even think about that. Or Derek could say the same thing and be like, damn, or appreciate you putting me on that. So now I can go down another rabbit hole of some information that I didn't even know about.
Yeah. And that's the kind of people that I've tried, I know, especially like leaving high school and going to college, that I've tried to just surround myself with. It's just people who are comfortable with themselves and people who are comfortable with just other people and everything. And I think something that hip hop has done for me, whenever like I said, I've listened to purely Eminem, but whenever I came back into hip hop, something that really struck me was the way that people could tell stories through the songs. And like, you could just really hear what someone went through in a way that's just very visceral. And like, I think once it kind of just sent me on this journey of just trying to like, just more about understanding about just like everything, really just kind of realizing like how many perspectives you lack, and just kind of like, just like hip hop really, like when I got into it and I started like finding a love for it, really like humbled me in a way. So like, and I think that's like, I think like that lesson that I learned can almost be like applied to a lot of people. Cause I think like when you were speaking to allyship, I think we have so many complex issues now in America that like we really have to focus on like trying to understand each other. Like there are so many emotions that are like, put into this pot, and like they are justifiable or not justifiable in some senses and stuff. But like, that's not what the focus has to be. We have to figure out how we can all understand each other. And that's something that like we do well, like us three and like my group of friends. So like, hopefully we can try and like put that in the music and spread it out there.
Yeah, I think generally, everybody, has their own past, their own demons, their own problems, their own like upbringing, and everybody's like diverse in like those ways and much more. And I just think that the people I surround myself with, you know, they are like very like open-minded individuals, you know, we're very accepting, we're very just like kind to each other, and like we don't let differences in opinion or differences in, you know, like race, gender, sexuality, anything like that come across as like a, you know, boundary or anything like that. And I think that's also like a reason why I'm still like into like the music, because, you know, no matter like your opinion or your upbringing or like what differences that we have, music is the, you know, the uniting force. Like it's the universal language, and that is something that everybody can, you know, appreciate and fall in love with.
And it's so deeply rooted in like music and pain and in like love, so it's just like and that's like really like what we're like dealing with, I mean, and what a lot of like countries are dealing with, but just like us specifically, like music is it's a huge force for good, I think, that we can utilize.
That's right, man. Music, the great equalizer. I'll say that. Like,
Indeed.
Okay, so since we are on the platform Real Life Music, what real life experiences have you guys had that let you know that music is exactly the business, the place where you belong?
I think it was crazy. I was like maybe 6 or 7 doing homework in the kitchen. I was like 9 years old. I wasn't like writing rhymes or anything, but I was in that time where we were writing poetry in class. And she was just trying to explain to us to understand what the structure of poetry was, and trying to learn like how to rhyme certain words. And I grew up around like music with my parents, and, you know, hip hop and jazz and a little bit of bluegrass. But I killed a roach, and for some reason I was like, "You don't want to die, don't come by." And I just kept saying it over and over. My dad walked in, he was like, "You should be a rapper."
Bars. Bars.
For some reason, I just took that and went along with it forever, just with with poetry and stuff. And that's just kind of where it started, with poetry, spoken word, and eventually a beat came along, and it was when grinding came out in 6th grade. It was in the lunchroom. And after that, I was just like, I want to.
Did you drop that roach bar? Did you hit him with the roach bar?
But I mean, after that, it was just like I kind of wanted to put my poetry into music, and I was doing such poetry of distinguished to like real life situations and things that you had to think about at such a young age, that molded the product of what I want to do now as an adult. So it was never like I molded myself to just speak on something I knew versus outside influences, you know?
Yeah, I know for me, whenever I kind of found that cathartic, like you know, that catharsis in like just writing down like my thoughts on paper and like making it rhyme and everything. And when I started taking that further and I really started to get like just things that I cared about down, like in a way that I felt like I was actually expressing them more than just like, you know, maybe just posting about it on social media or whatever, like whatever other way that you maybe express yourself, like music really was drawn to me. And I also became just addicted to how like forcing myself to really like understand myself in a way where like if I'm trying to put it in an intricate rhyme pattern, then like I really have to understand what I'm saying. So it's going to cause me to really evaluate myself and understand myself in a way that like, you know, I wouldn't have if I hadn't been like trying to make this just like song. So for me, it's like, I definitely want to be successful in music, definitely want to try and find a way to make money off it. But like, I'm definitely going to make music and write music probably for the rest of my life, just because it helps me grow as a person, you know, like regardless of like, if other people hear it, like I can make music for me, you know, and my kids are going to bump that all day. So
Play daddy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't really have like like an exact like experience that I can pinpoint of like, you know, how I got into music and like what it means to me, but definitely just in general, you know, it's just, you can feel so many different emotions and like different feelings from just listening to music, making music, and, you know, being involved in music. And just listening to music in itself is just a very fun and entertaining time, like to spend alone. And, you know, I would say the same thing about like creating the music and producing it. You know, I'm kind of on the weird side because I don't really have like vocals or like lyrics or like messages in my music. It's all just like sound and, you know, abstract feelings and ideas. But in the same vein, it's really interesting to me and quite cathartic to like be able to express myself making music without having to necessarily like evoke a certain message or tell a certain story, but still be able to like express myself in that way and share it in a way that might resonate with somebody else who also isn't getting a story or getting a message or words out of it, but they experience it in their own personal way. And this is all about, it's more of like a communal thing, just creating and sharing something for the community of artists.
Yeah, just trying to push the genre forward, just because like we're out of respect for the genre, like I love hip hop.
Yeah.
I want to try and make some music that could maybe even inspire someone else to do something dope with it. Like,
yeah, it's more like definitely like an appreciation of the craft and of like the culture, I suppose. All the many hours that I can attribute to like listening to just like great music and like having a good time. It's like I kind of want to do that for somebody else, or for anybody who's listening to it. Like I want to be the person to make something that someone else is going to listen to over and over again, or someone else is going to appreciate on their own, and kind of maybe share the same like feelings that I had like going into it.
I hear that. All right. Well, we are out of time. Okay, I need everybody to drop your handles. We're gonna start with Neely, then Miles, then Dare. Let's go.
I am at Neely Raps, Neely Raps. And that's on Instagram. That's mainly where I'm promoting things right now. So that's where y'all can follow me at.
I'm at Miles. I am Miles _ So it's _Miles Kendrick on Instagram, and that's honestly where I'm just trying to start my platform and then add any other SoundCloud and Instagram, anything else on there.
Yep. And I'm Daredevil Music. It's like Daredevil, but Dara. And then, Devil Music, that's spelled all the same. I'm on all platforms, but I release my music through SoundCloud. So that's where you're going to hear, all my latest tracks first. And you're going to hear them the most over there.
All right. And I'm your hostess with the mostest, Mimi V. And thank you guys for coming out tonight again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to say, nothing to prove, nothing to blame, nothing to soothe, nothing to gain, nothing to lose, nothing to say, nothing to prove, nothing to blame.